Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once more to the ESL Katowice Royale, and I think that might be the last time that we see Adam invade the stage, gentlemen. I mean, what do you think of this thing? Is he all right? He's downed, he's not eliminated, but I mean...
Suits you better.
Thank you. Wait, have you seen him at all around the venue since we last saw him? I can't say I have.
No, I'm not saying it's a deterrent, okay? I'm just making a warning. Anyone else comes up here? Go and ask Adam what happens. Anyway, let's
come out with like 7 jackets on.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just gonna...
They're trophies for you.
I quite like the look of that one, actually.
Oh,
anyway, let's talk about some of the action we've seen so far today. Obviously, round 1 and round 2. Let's start off by talking about our first match of the day. Obviously, Shinuki, great performance from him lasting until that end game. Is he a player that we expect to see now after that early victory Royale being in contention? There's some things we saw in the second game where you kind of thought, well, maybe it might have just been one of those victories that maybe he's not going to be able to transfer over to the later rounds.
I mean, you can't win all the time, right? But he certainly has it laid out for him. You have a good first or second game. You can just snowball off it and yeah, just...
Okay, I'm gonna jump in on this one because him, Shikuni, and Evil so far are the only 2 players to get top 10 results from the first 2 matches, the only ones. So those 2 have been very consistent so far in the set of games. My question to you now, Martin, is if you have 2 good games like that, does that pump you up and get you going? Does that motivate you to keep that kind of pressure on into the next games?
It can go either way, right? But yeah, most likely. Or it puts some pressure on you. But no, you should... I would feel in a good spot.
Yeah, you should.
I would feel in a really good spot, but you still have to focus. You can't just go, oh hey, I'm doing pretty good now, so I can relax. You just got to stay focused and keep up your confidence.
And that's the thing, is it's 7 rounds of action we have to get through today. The players have just come back from a little break as well, where they can get refreshed, get some food in them. Do you think the momentum, having a break like this, is gonna affect that momentum, or is it just still a case of knowing in the back of your head that you've had 2 such strong performances to kick off the day?
I think that does affect you a little bit, because when you're even a commentator or a player and you get those really good games under your belt, you're just like, all right, next one, let's go. Even if you have a bad game, you're like, all right, next one, let's go. But I feel like for the people who've had some rough games so far, we've seen Poverty like really struggle in some of these games too. It gives you that chance for that mental reset to come into this like, okay, I've had a breather, I've had a nice burger in my belly or whatever they had. Yeah. I've had this time to figure out what went wrong, and now how can I adjust my style coming into these next rounds?
Yeah, sometimes you just need a little breather to let go of all the past games, past mistakes, and just move forward. But as you said, the people who have been performing well so far, they might want to stay in the zone, and yeah, this could throw them off a little bit, but...
The thing is, we've had so many great individual plays as well over the course of today. Like, you look back at duos, it's a lot more difficult to make these all-star plays happen, to be like super aggressive, hold that W key, plus forward into them. But we've seen, for instance, Evil, he had this like 1v1 situation outside retail row. He was being hammered down with clingers, with grenade launcher, with dynamite, and yet he kept that composure and he came out strong for the victory. He got that 1v1, which helped him maintain his position now in the overall standings.
I'm so surprised he made it out of that.
Yeah.
Normally when you get bombarded with loads just from left and right, you don't really think you're going to make it out. He did have a launch pad in his inventory. He did not decide to use it because he was already pretty low. And I mean, if you decide to launch away, everyone will just be shooting at you. So he stuck around, took a risk, and it played out.
And of course, it was Jakos towards the end of the game who picked up the victory royale, which of course we'll be seeing here from his point of view. And I mean, 7 eliminations to go alongside that as well. That's pretty much almost as perfect a game as you can get at this high level. He is one player who is certainly going to want to get into this next game. And I loved his interview as well, where he's like, I just want to get eliminations.
And the thing was, game 2 for him was so important because not only did he get the 7 eliminations and the victory, he got that 100 points on top. In game 1, he finished with 14. So that kind of shows he jumped from 14 to 114, which put him now into the top 10. Like that's again, you have to be so happy about and hopefully can replicate now in game 3.
Yeah, and that game was really a lot of back and forth. It was a really interesting game. At the end, he did have the high ground. A lot of players did have high ground. They went back and forth a lot. But I believe he did get the RPG from the supply drop. So he did some really nice plays there. He did have the advantage, gave it up, went down low ground, but yeah.
And what's really cool...
Sorry to cut you off for just a second. We're going to bring up the standings here so you can see where some of the players are currently sitting at the moment. 25th place, Richard, obviously one of our duos champions from yesterday. He sat there kind of still in contention, as we've seen how quickly you can jump up the leaderboards with a big game. But, you know, at the top of the leaderboards at the moment here, we can see Shikuni, that big game that he had and the consistency that he's had so far, that's what's keeping him on top of the pile.
And consistency, again, just to say, because we're playing out multiple rounds, this isn't like a one match. This isn't a best of 3. You have to play consistently well over the course of these 7 matches to maintain that kind of position. And of course, win that money. Look at the points he has, 159. Evil behind him in hot pursuit at 142. I mean, and then again, Jarkos, we talked about 114, got his way into that top 5.
Yeah, and at this point, you can see, you know, Jarkos with that 100 points shows how close this is as well. If you can pull out a victory royale and pick up some eliminations along the way, that leaderboard can completely change after just one game. You look at that top 10, all within 100 points of each other quite comfortably. So big games from any of these players at the moment, that leaderboard can look completely different after even just one more round.
And what's kind of nice to hear, we talked to Bala actually during Game 2 and towards the end of Game 2, and he's done obviously a lot of work here in Fortnite, a lot of commentary over the Secret Skirmish and such. He says he's amazed and really it's good to hear and see how many good players we have here in Poland participating. Keep in mind, they're playing against the best of Europe as well, day in and day out in their custom scrims. So seeing people and having Bala be impressed by them is a good sign for a lot of talent here in Poland.
I mean, I'm impressed by them. Yesterday in duos, you couldn't really see a lot of individual plays, but just in 2 games today, we've seen so many cool plays and so much confidence in a lot of these players, which we didn't really see yesterday.
Okay, well, I believe that one thing I want to ask you guys for before we actually nip away for just a second is what's been your highlight play so far today? We've had 2 rounds. There has already been some individual plays that have been so impressive that we've all kind of gone, ooh, wow, that's pretty
Does it just have to be today? Because I have like one player that really surprised me was Evil in the 1v1 that he was able to win. He got a little bit lucky that the guy he was fighting against took damage from his own dynamite, but even yesterday he was in a 1v2 where he lost to really early on in that fight. He was able to edit his way out and actually take high ground away from the 2 players. Just a little bit tough for him to pull off the 1v2 in that situation, but to see him, who's 30 years young, I'm going to say for us,
my man,
even though your birthday was just a couple days ago, 30 years young, and to be able to keep that composure in those situations and almost come out that victor.
Yeah, I mean, we did see him with a trap kill today, and I think it was Game 1. We're talking about Smiley, right?
Oh, I was talking about Evil.
Sorry.
But we can talk about Smiley. Let's talk about Smiley.
Yeah, I mean, Smiley today in his Game 1, that's my favorite play of today at least. Just executing a perfect trap kill elimination.
Oh yeah, that was cheeky, wasn't it? That was a little bit cheeky,
amazing.
especially for a Game 1 as well. It's probably one of those things that if you're in the lobby, you're just not kind of expecting. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of BM play towards the start of the day. You're like, come on, man, this is game number 1. You can't be making me look like this. It's got to like affect you going on a little bit, right?
Yeah, they are strong though. Traps are 150 damage, so players they do tend to use them quite efficiently.
Okay, well, gentlemen, it's been absolutely fantastic to have a chat with you about all things Fortnite once again. There's a man who is down, hopefully he's okay, on the floor at the moment. Something happened to his jacket. We'll find out. We'll have to ask him. Adam, where are you?
Wait. You guys are telling me that Mark's claiming that he took the jacket off me? I gave him a souvenir. He asked for an autograph. It's on, brother. I cannot believe you did this to me. Guys, I'm back here at the front of the Tomato Temple here. You can see I'm right beside the buggy here, and also I'm joined by some of our favorite cosplayers from across the weekend. You all look amazing. I'm blown away. There's such a crowd that always gathers every time these guys are out. I'll come to you. What's it been like being around all the fans here this weekend?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
I mean, this seems, is it quite heavy, this as well? It's super light. It's super light. Wow, that's amazing. How long does it usually take you to get ready for events like this?
Ready for events when we have finished costumes, it's like maybe 1.5 hours.
Okay. And do you all help each other out to get ready? Is it kind of like very much a team thing, or?
Yes, we do.
Who's the best person in the team that helps people out the most? Who's the mother hen of the group?
Oh, we don't have, so we help each other out.
Okay. So it's very much a team thing. I like that a lot.
Playing, like team playing, yes.
I love it. All of you look fantastic. In terms of the rest of the show and the course of the weekends, I mean, we're here with all the fans around us. With pictures and things, are you guys cool? Is there a lot of pictures? Is it constant? People are coming up to you saying, can I have a photo? Can I have a photo? Is it constant?
Oh yes, it's really nice. You know, we love photos. We love, people that taking photos with us because our costumes have, a lot of hours of make. So we are really glad that people want to take photos with us, really.
And I must ask you as well, in terms of the whole cosplay world, how did you guys? I'll ask some of you ladies. How did you get into this in the first place? How did you get into cosplay?
Okay, actually, it's really interesting. I'm doing cosplay for like 20 years or something. Like, no, maybe like
Yeah,
less.
both less
Yeah.
than 12. Something
Yeah,
like this.
it's 12. Yeah.
20 years, that's a long time. 12 years. That's still a long time. That's a long time. Well, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. You all look absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for being here. So much fun. That was brilliant. We're going to head back to Mark and the guys ahead of our next game. Can't wait.
Thank you, Adam. The thing I asked you to sign, by the way, was a restraining order. So hopefully that means you can't come up on Tomato Temple anymore. Hopefully the lawyers will get that through nice and quickly. But those guys obviously looking great, gentlemen. And again, another fantastic piece of imagery and sums up the fantastic Fortnite community we have here in Katowice.
It does. This is, again, like a cultural phenomenon. I was saying yesterday, we've seen a lot of professional football players, soccer for you Westerners out there like me from America, who are doing the dances whenever they score a goal. Or you see it in baseball as well, American football on top of that. It's really cool to see how in-depth everyone takes Fortnite.
Yeah, I saw there was a lot of costumes yesterday. No, about 2 days ago, I think. Saw about 20 of them.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to see. It must take so long time to make a lot of those, especially the costumes like LEDs and stuff.
Yeah, I don't have the dexterity or the patience to do something like that, but they are phenomenal. Let's talk about our upcoming round, though, gentlemen, because I want to kind of highlight. We've highlighted the players that are obviously doing quite well at the moment, who have racked up some points. Is there any surprises in the pack at the moment that you kind of are expecting to be doing a little bit better after a couple of games?
Poverty, Zeke, Teofsky, Nero. Hoopek's in there in the top 10, Skix as well. Like, there's a lot of players who, when we talked to the players before the event started, that had their eyes focused on these guys. And yet they've been unable to really have the performance we expected over these 2 days so far. But again, we're only 2 matches in. We still have 5 to go, so we can't count our chickens too early.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of the names. I wanted to...
Don't want to talk about chickens, but yeah. Can't count our llamas too early.
We forgot one name, Noisy.
It's true.
Yeah,
home
great
game
point,
yesterday, and yeah, I believe I saw him on 29th, so he's doing pretty okay. But I know we can bring it home. I know.
It's always still, even 29th place at this point early on is still very much within striking distance of that top spot. You can see now all the players. They're getting ready, getting warmed up, making sure everything is set up for them to get into our game number 3. And I want to get into this one as quickly as possible because I found out, we saw yesterday, the longer that these games are going on and as we go round by round, things get a little bit more crazy as people are forced to play for those points, are forced to play for those eliminations. And which is why I wanted to highlight Yarkos again, because his gameplay is obviously get endgame, but he doesn't want to just survive till endgame. He wants to pick up eliminations along the way, and you can see what a huge point bonus if you are able to pull that off. Obviously risky putting yourself in more engagements, but you could put yourself, if he has another couple of games like that, he can put himself ahead of the field with still a few rounds to go.
I mean, the 7 eliminations translates into 35 points, and 35 points is more than half of actually what you get for first place alone. So he's really showing and really proving that eliminations are going to be key when it comes to this. We saw towards the end of yesterday, I think in our last match, Martin, that some players who were not even in the top 10, not even close to top 10, were being extra aggressive because they realized, all right, we need to make something happen right now. We need those points from those elims.
Yeah, they went crazy, but that's what you kind of have to expect, right? People going desperate over. Yeah. We need to accumulate those points, and yeah.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get into our round number 3 for the first time today. Mine Creek, Jason Kaplan, take it away for us.
Thank you very much for that onset. And yes, things are going to get hectic here as we're kicking off that third round. As you mentioned, we do have the battle bus coming from the west to eastern side, starting off towards Snobby Shores. Now, Martin, you're here. You're playing solos. You're currently, let's just say top 50 for the sake of it, even though you'd probably be top 10, let's be honest. Top 50, halfway through the whole tournament here in our solos matches. What are you aiming for right now? Are you still looking to get to play your comfortable style? Or are you looking to change some things up here, be a little bit more aggressive, and try to get those points a little bit higher?
I mean, after analyzing these players, I would be somewhat scared because they are really, really good. So I would probably just keep on going for, keeping it with my, staying with my tactic, just staying with what I know, and yeah, just.
Well, currently we do have 5 players landing over towards Tilted. So I'm expecting to see a lot of action coming down there in a bit. A couple of players over towards Wailing Woods as well. And to be fair, it's pretty much evenly spread across the entire map here as we get into our third round. Sebas already taken a little bit of damage you saw towards the lower half of Tilted. And Dioxide, a person we haven't really talked about much over the course of these 2 days, has already taken some damage as well. Already in a little bit of a skirmish here.
So this is a really awkward position. Looks like he's going to head out. You do have the low ground here. He is looking pretty okay in his inventory, but Sexelos looks like he knows he kind of wants to. No.
The thing is, he wants to accomplish something from there, and he realizes he's already fighting off the back foot, so definitely trying to make that next decision. Kieru already down to 56 HP, but he has the epic pump, and he has the opportunity to play spoiler here, especially up against one of the Alcin boys. He's going for that quick, and he gets the shot as well. Ritali, who we saw have so many phenomenal games just yesterday, I'm not even mistaken, he picked up actually a win with Icefire in Game 5, so he's already going to be out of this fight.
Yeah, and we just see like the confidence right off the bat with these players, just going in for it, invading the boxes and just, yeah.
But we see Shaz there doing what Tyovsky said on the desk, right? He hits with a shotgun, switches over to the SMG to clean that elimination up, and he gets himself one on the board as well. We did have 5 players in Tilted, and I can tell you we still have 5 here currently, as everyone seems to be fighting. Now, Martin, talk to me. What's the important aspect about landing Tilted here in solos? What do you have to do?
So first of all, you have to, when you glide into Tilted, you do see a lot of loot, so you do need to try to kind of find a shotgun, get a shotgun, and then just start rushing the first person you see. At least that's what I would do, in hopes that my opponents wouldn't be as lucky as I would.
We do have a couple of bottle rockets going over here. I was actually curious because in duos, do you play Tilted Towers differently in duos than you do in solos?
I think you play it a bit more aggressively in duos. In solos, you might be a bit more careful. You don't really have your body there to protect you or keep your watch your 6.
Yeah.
But yeah. So in solos, it's always a bigger risk in solos compared to duos, I would say.
We did see Smiley there in the activity feed, able to take down Ju, get his elimination. El Pestero down to 23 HP. He's now on this little bit of a build fight here. Still looking to maintain this high ground. I think he got built above him too to deny him any sort of position there. You can see Sake as well going to be on the low ground actually, so he wasn't denied. But Sake has that HP advantage, as you can see. All he has to do is build back up to this tower, catch out Pestero, which he does from behind. And look at that, another elimination for him. That's gonna be his first here of Game 3.
So this is so good, right? Salty being one of those spots where we can see more than 2 players usually drop, while the loot may not really cater to more than 1 person. So cleaning it up really this early in the game just puts you so far ahead.
Hupek and Skix up against each other already off the bat. Teammates yesterday, enemies today, as they look to pick up an elimination between the two. Yeah, the legendary heavy AR picked up as well for Hupek, who is already doing fairly well over the course of these first 2 rounds.
So this area here, I really agree with this, just running away from the fight, not really engaging, because it's such an open area and you don't really want to get caught, especially with Hamlet so close, and we know that that's a really popular drop for players.
Right, and the thing is, you definitely want to play carefully. We see Tyovsky as well, a lot of big names in this area, as there's actually a lot of action going on, maybe potentially a third party coming through. A couple of clingers being thrown down. See if it connects onto anything. Looks like he's just actually going to be, you know, the cool guy. No, cool guys don't look at explosions as he walks away.
Throws a goblin and just decides to head out of there. Not worth his time.
And now Tyovsky, he's going to be in a battle here. Taking a little bit of damage down to 33 HP, trying to get somewhere safe to maybe pop these small shields. He's looking for an escape route as well. You can hear the traps being thrown in at the same time. Tyovsky, Kutaban head to head, and it looks like he actually did fall to the trap as well. So a little bit unfortunate for him.
Yeah, I mean, fighting in houses are so awkward, right? If you get stuck in a room, you really do need to find your way out of there. And I mean, there's walls around you that don't belong to you, so you do have to hit them. And we did see they have like about 600 health, so that's 6 hits.
Yeah,
takes time.
It's really rough for him too. I mean, luckily we got to talk to him on the desk earlier on and talk about how you mentally stay focused, especially when you get eliminated early on, because now you're just stuck here waiting for that next match to get underway. Maybe some time to analyze what you did right or did wrong.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they just came back from lunch, right?
Yep.
So it might be a little bit thrown off. And as you said, yeah, you just gotta stay focused, try not to tilt, and just throw it out a window, and just come back stronger next game.
Hopefully for his sake, he can do just that. Again, Dioxide's still going to be in a little bit of a skirmish here against Xelos, maintaining the high position, but he's just looking for that angle and using these windows to his advantage as well. But I do like how Xelos has been able to cover those off with some ramps, deny any sort of vision that Dioxide could potentially get from it. But now taking out some of these walls gives him the opportunity to edit his way back in, to catch him off guard.
You do hear clingers. Are those coming from inside?
Yeah.
I do believe so. And the storm is actually closing in pretty fast here, so they do need to finish this up or make a decision. I mean, Dioxide does have 9 bandages in his inventory, so he could just take his sweet time and just wait for his opponent here to just make his way out. And
that's such a good opportunity for him. So he even has a launch pad if he really does ever need it. I'm assuming he's going to try to save that till later on. See King, he did get one of the eliminations earlier on, has also the Stormwing off to his side if he wants to use it. Now we see Now we see the heal off coming in. I'm actually curious, what does Exlos have in his inventory? Does he have a lot of bandages as well? Can they both kind of heal each other out and see who's going to cave first? But as we're seeing, Darkside's going to have the shield advantage, so he can force a fight here. But he's going to hear him coming. You can hear him trying to make his way through in towards this house.
We do see Sextelos pulling off 2 bandages, so we do have a little heal off here. Although Sextelos is pretty low, goes through the window.
Attack shotgun comes through and doesn't really connect on too much damage. That wall is so low. He takes it down, gets the elimination as well. Doesn't get any extra bandages to use, but he has the opportunity to quickly transition back here towards the circle.
And awareness is so important. If you only realized that those walls were down at 50 health, they could have quickly replaced them and maybe stayed safe for a little while longer. So that's unfortunate.
I do see some driftboard action coming in. Aerokiz actually might be in hot pursuit in a couple seconds here as we make our way towards the Dusty Divot, and E6 trying to farm up a lot of materials. Look at, he has 133 builds to go with, so he's already set pretty much towards that later stages, especially towards that middle stage of the game.
I thought he was going to set up here. Okay, yeah, he does actually want to set up here, which I agree with. He decided to save the driftboard as well in case the zone goes pretty far away. It is somewhat of a free rotation, right? So,
yeah. Well, speaking of rotations, we do have the circle closing in towards Paradise Palm, so he's going to have to traverse quite far here. Now, Heisel is going to have Evil. Again, a man we've been looking at, 30 years young. I'm going to keep saying it till the day I die, which is probably in a couple years with how old I am. But no, he's maintained these positions. He's been consistent over the course of these 2 matches so far. We see kind of a little bit of mountain goating over here as well.
And we're back into Dusty where looks like they are into a fight, but...
Yeah, you can see just trying to spam away. Eric is trying to replace that wall. Not able to do so just yet.
I really thought they would go for more of a standoff here, or more like bunkering, as you call it.
Just kind of waited out a little bit longer. The compact going to be coming through as well. The SMG is trying to build his way out, trying to catch him off guard, and Aerokiz is actually going to lose the positioning here. So a great job by Anisik to actually get out of this one, but he gets tagged up so low. There was a hole in the wall. He gets dropped down to a sliver of HP, but he's still alive. He's still on the high ground. He's going to be chased out here momentarily, though, and you have to imagine Aerokiz should be able to get this.
And this epic SMG, it does have a lot of ammo in it, so just hitting left click and spraying normally works, but he will try to go for the edit instead.
And you see there too, something Zakibus touched about a lot yesterday, was these angles you have to kind of perform from and build from. It's very difficult. Eric is just going to go for the spray down, gets the elimination, as Nisik's going to go have to go back to start. So we see a lot of players being dwindled down here, and we still have a lot of distance for a lot of these players to cover to even get back towards the circle. And Noisy, you mentioned him before, he's got Zeke in hot pursuit right under him.
Sort of an awkward position here again. Paradise with a lot of players, and yeah, we'll see if we make it out of it.
Oh, Shaz, 2 HP in a dream. Not able to hit his own pump, and he will be dropped by King, who now has 5 eliminations this early on. 25 points already built up for this player. King, he is on a mission.
He really is. There's 60 players left in the lobby, and he has 5 of those limbs, so...
Oh man, that's I can't do percents, I can't do math on air, but that's a whole lot of percents for him in the amount of eliminations that have happened over the course of round 3. Hilu, as well as going to have hashtag off the side. We saw hashtag pick up, I believe, the first victory royale yesterday in our duos. I know Hilu's already going to lose the majority of his shields, but he has a couple of small potions here to use.
Yeah, got those early hits in, so he will decide to just push here, stay confident, and yeah, try to finish this up as fast as he can. He doesn't have this heavy sniper.
He doesn't have a, he does have the pump. He has the epic pump on this one. He's just looking to replace some of these walls, looking to catch out where Hilu's going to be, but he's potentially getting third party here. The heavy sniper comes through, trying to replace the wall. Not able to land that at the right time as the turbo build comes through, and he actually loses the high ground off this, but to his advantage, going up here isn't necessarily the best idea either, considering we have a Stormwing coming through.
Yeah, you just love those.
It's King again, by the way. Just to point him out, he has the Stormwing, he has 5 eliminations, and he's looking for more.
And he's just going from player to player and just harassing them one by one. Not really caring, just flying straight over their head. I love this. I just love this.
Let's see now as Hilu is going to have a little bit of normality now as the Stormwing does disappear and King does leave them alone for a split second of time. Down to 9 HP. He's going to fall from this one as well. That'll be a great finish coming in for, are you kidding me? King again.
Does that make it 6?
That has to be 6 for him. That has to be the most eliminations we've seen out of a single player this early on, and I think a majority of competitive Fortnite.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, as I mentioned earlier today, when you have this, when you just grab elimination after elimination, you get into this zone, and you just start off a snowball effect, and the more people you drop down, I mean, you'll just get more and more utility as well.
Let me ask you about this then, because obviously you get to upgrade your inventory, right? You get to get more materials, you get to maintain your HP. But when mentally, when you're doing that, do you realize, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to calm down a little bit because I need to not overextend. We're getting to obviously the top players, the zones do collapse, and we lose more people. But where's that moment? How do you tell yourself, all right, stop. Wow.
Was that a snipe?
That had to have been a snipe. That had to have been a lot of damage done. Yeah, the hunting rifle coming through.
Yeah, so like you were saying, I mean, normally you do want to gather up some utility and mobility for the end game. So, I mean, if King is sitting there on only, I mean, on 6 eliminations but no mobility, I think he will keep this up.
Well, let's see, Teak, 0 eliminations. Got Emmer here to combat with. And he's got the weaponry as well. The stink bomb's going to come through, which will cut off his potential push in himself as he gets a lot of retreating damage done.
Third party coming in from the other side and cleaned up by Skosas.
There's a lot of players now as we're into our third circle. You can see Skosas rotating. Ayum is there. Rel QB on top of things, and now the third party actually comes in and actually is going to connect the shot. So Rel, we're going to lose a lot of his shield here.
So as we saw earlier, Noisy was hanging around Paradise, and I thought it was going to be an awkward spot, but we do see the circle is actually within Paradise, so he might just still be bunkering up over there.
Let's see, Evil still alive, 1 elimination. He's had 2 consecutive top 10 results in our first 2 rounds of today, and so he's actually be shot up again. But look at his weaponry. This is insane. He's got 2 clingers, 6 mini shields, small shields, and of course, a shotgun to boot.
Yeah, so at this point, I don't know if 1 launch pad is enough. Seeing as the zone is in the area it is, it could still play out. There are a bunch of mountains over there, but not really right in the Paradise area.
Down 86 health now. Heisel's going to be the person he's up against. He's going to try to pop a couple of these small shields as the storm will come in, will close. Use the launch pad to get away. And he's like, all right, I'm out of this fight. Peace, Heisel, you can deal with the people shooting in our direction. And he's actually able to almost cleanly transition completely through. He's got Rel off to his side, which we did see him get sniped on a little bit earlier on. And Shikuni is alive as well. 0 eliminations, but he's alive. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, so it looks like he's been taking a more laid-back type of gameplay here, as he does have a beautiful inventory with 2 rifts to go.
I can hear Zakibus looking at this. I can hear him from up here saying, oh, he's got the perfect setup, the 2 rifts to go. Hope he doesn't walk into a trap, though.
Yeah,
sorry, Zakibus, I love you.
That is the optimal loadout.
Oh, no. Oh, that's what we saw earlier on happen, as we're mentioning, right? The awareness to realize when a wall has 50 HP or when it's low, you have to retreat away. And that's the snipe we saw, at least in the free camp point of view.
That was beautiful.
Oh, no. Evil is going to be taken out by Chawe.
And he had such a good inventory as well. Well, that's a risk of engaging.
He had one. Now Chave has one himself. He has the good inventory, able to trade things off, and Deoxys is going to be a high ground around him on top of things. Hashtag again, one of the players who actually won the first duo round we had yesterday. Teak is going to be alive as well here, trying to actually push in from the zone, which has closed yet again around Paradise.
Wilco is in a nightmare here. It does eventually go down. Just 2 players just spraying you while you're trying to make it into the zone. That's just rough.
90 builds left here for Hashtag as he's still trying to push through and get into a better position around Paradise. And I would imagine a lot of people who are already there are going to be replacing a lot of these walls around these buildings to just edit these transitions through. Martin, so you're in the situation, say you're Hashtag or your Serva. How do you transition cleanly here into Paradise Palms?
You could either take it pretty slow here, as you do have to go pretty far. You could just wait for everyone else to move along and use the existing buildings to your advantage, making sure you don't waste too many of your own materials, which you'll probably, well, you will need them for the late game.
Or your Hashtag and you just run straight through and no one even spots you. So I guess that works out in the end of things too, as he's going to be in the zone momentarily here, trying to build up to a different position on the high ground. Don't believe we have any, actually I think we have a couple of stormings left in the air. I think Denor has one of those, Boohoo as well, and Will Q. So we have a couple of planes left in the sky, but it's all about the action on the ground.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did hear some stormings as well. We have a lot of players on the north side of the circle. This is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out in just about 5 seconds when the storm actually does start.
Sheesh. Hoopik and his editing there, so quick, so clean. So we have Flippeth up here, Mario Gela up here, we got Boohoo, Dav, Camjon. We have so many players that are eventually going to have to ditch out of these planes and get towards this ground. The thing is, while they're up there, Martin, they're not getting any limbs. So they're not getting any guaranteed points on the board. They're just trying to hope that we can survive long enough to get into that top 50 to start to finally get something for ourselves, for themselves.
Once you're in that position, you don't really have to do much. You just have to fly for as long as you can, as it's just free mobility. It's not only, oh, Noise is trying to make his way into the zone there by the edge, but
Yeah, he's still alive, most importantly, and again, he is the aim of the aim-brain combo of him and Lothar that we did see yesterday. Unfortunately, didn't make it into the top 10, into the earnings in our duo tournament. But look at this, it's just a battlefield here happening in Paradise Palms.
yeah, and I do really like this. We see a lot of players just utilizing the existing buildings, replacing one wall after the other, ensuring them, just giving them a free base, basically.
Well, you can see Zeke pretty much in the center of the city. Hoopik's still going to be alive towards that left-hand side, as well as Dioxide. Chave, who is able to take down Evil before, who has pretty much, or should have practically a perfect kit now as we get into the later stages of this match. Katrab, he's got 3 weapons, yeah, but he doesn't really have much to play off of that.
Yeah, this is not a position you'd want to be in. He's really far away from the zone as well, so if he can just stay alive for a little bit longer, maybe grab a third-party elimination, you could come back from this.
Well, laid back now, going to be taking the high ground over Richard. Again, one of our 2 winners from our duo tournament yesterday. He's got the legendary pump on top of this. He's got 2 small potions to use. He's trying to laser some people out of the sky, but that's proven to be a little bit too difficult. But the zone has transitioned. We do have our new one coming in.
If these players don't want to worry about other opponents just landing on top of their bases here when we enter the later stages of the game, they really do have to start harassing these Stormwings up in the air, making sure they drop out and don't become a nuisance later on in the game.
The thing is, we know there's a couple of Rift to goes in possession here from our remaining players, so that's going to be even more crazy. We saw in our duo tournament, we saw like 30, 40 people in Game 2 dropping from the sky.
There is a launch pad here on the way to the new zone. I'm not sure if a lot of players really see it, but recycling. Shikuni here bunkered up really nicely by the edge of the... Actually, I think he's inside the zone.
Yeah, and he's still alive, too, most importantly. Again, one of our leaders so far over the course of our 2 matches. 38 players remaining as everyone just seems to be dropping, whether it's out of the sky as we see here, or it's just to the next round, unfortunately, for a couple of these players. Zaki able to make his way safely down as he takes a couple of shots here from laid back, who's maintaining this high ground position. I feel like he has ultimate high ground as well.
He does have the high ground. He does have a launch pad as well, so he's feeling pretty good at this point, I'd assume.
I feel like if you're him, so you're in the situation, you have the launch pad, do you just wait, use that launch pad the latest you possibly can, and get as many people transitioning, and then use their own cover to your advantage?
You definitely wait. You want to stay up on the high ground. There's a lot of players rotating, so you do get some free shots, maybe grab an elimination here and there. At the very least, some harassment going on. So, yeah, you do want to save this launch pad for as long as you can. Just look at the circle. It's very far away, so it's going to be really hard to rotate there without any mobility.
Well, it's going to be going south, too, most importantly. Zeke's able to get the elimination onto Advice, who's had a fantastic couple of games over the course of these 2 days as well. You see Laidback again maintaining this spot, looking for any opportunity. I feel like he's got some damage in here or there, but the eliminations, well, just 2 to his name, but number 3 not going to be there because Zeke was picked off by Vince.
And Storm Surge is active, meaning all players do need to reach the damage threshold before taking that annoying damage tick. And yeah, look at this. Just a lot of flying going on.
You see Killin able to make his way through. Aerokiz as well. You can see a lot of players flying back. Laidback has made his way there with that launch pad. You see Alcin Brisu trying to get his way, trying to brute force his way through with a lot of his materials being consumed and actually being shot from behind. He's down to below half HP. Over towards the right-hand side, you have Fixer and Serva as well trying to get there. They're actually in the storm, and Fixer should fall from this one. That's going to be unfortunate for him. But Boohoo on the high ground, he's got Dav next to him as well, who's actually shooting from behind. There's so many shots riding off here, so much damage being done to all these players.
And a lot of mats being used as well. Going in this late in the game, you do want to utilize as many buildings as you can to your advantage. And look, we do have a Stormwing in place still. People trying to land on it to kind of hijack it.
And Shikuni is still alive. Just want to point that out. He was still there, still looking to take more points if he possibly can. Actually, might have been finished off in the moments that we saw the action happening with the Stormwing. Flippith is going to have the ultimate high ground. Now he's got Teak off to his side. The Stormwing has dropped down eventually.
Oh, there's even players up on the mountain there, but they do have to make their way down as the circle starts transitioning to the northwest.
Starjo gets himself 2 elims, looking for a third. Can he get the shot? He's got to edit his way through. He's low in HP. He will be dropped by Hashtag, who gets himself a nice quick double. Shikuni is alive. He has the ultimate high ground here. And if he can get another top 10 placing in this round, he's got to be looking good to win this whole thing.
His inventory not looking that good though, only on 28 health. Does have some shield, however. But yeah, his inventory looking really scarce right now. But as I said, he does have the high ground, so...
Oh, we see an RPG being picked up here. The Stink Bomb actually cutting him off. He's eventually going to have to say, all right, I'll take the damage from this and I'll push through instead of taking damage from the Storm. Camjon and Spizzy actually still fighting as well at the same time. And Camjon, who we were watching before, he's down to 28 health. He gets the elimination, though, back up to 7-8. Hashtag in the meantime has got himself another elimination on the board. Shikuni, no one's even looking towards this man. There's so many people on the ultimate low ground that are still fighting.
And the zone's going back, so he can just keep on using his existing builds. It's going back towards the mountain, so he's definitely in the upper hand right now.
0 eliminations, but he's looking to get the points from this game just from placements. His inventory looks terrible at this rate. 13 HP, hoping to maybe get an elimination or 2 if he can pick them off. And look how high he is. He only has a 1v1 battle. Philip, he's just by himself. He's like, all right, guys, I'm going to chill. I'm going to sit here in the middle ground. You guys can fight it out. I'm going for that placing.
He's so far away from players, so he's just going to take it slow. Shikuni trying to find some players with the editing. He does need to pull off some elimination here if he does want some more health and not take too much damage from the Storm ticks.
Yeah, you can see he's looking for something, and I don't know if he's got the opportunity to do so. The Storm is going to be pushing through. He's actually going to catch himself here on the drop, trying to make sure he gets these edits in or these builds in at the right time. Philip has been able to take down Camjon, and now we see Shikuni making his way down a little bit further, maybe looking for the elimination. Hashtag kill, and Philip, the last 3 with Shikuni on top, making 4. How is this going to break down as the Storm is still moving and getting ever so smaller?
Like I said, if he does want to bring this game home, he does probably need to find an elimination to bring his health back up, not to take that damage from the zone, ultimately finishing him off.
He's got to be so careful. He doesn't want to get dropped down here, but luckily for him, no one's even looking in his direction. Finally, a shot's going to rattle off towards him, and it's going to force him to get a little bit closer, a little bit personal. Hashtag going to take a lot of damage here. So now Philip able to get another elimination onto Kill, and that's his 3rd now. He has a legendary chug jump, but there's no way in hell he's going to get this off in this last 3 players.
Not too much ammo either. Hashtag
He drops Hashtag. He gets it. Now Shikuni up against Philip, who's going to actually drop down some 13 HP. Don't tell me he's going to pick this up, but he does! Somehow, Shikuni comes out big, gets the victory. One elimination, but all it took was 1, Martin.
He's just proving that he's one of the top players here. It's just amazing.
He was on high ground for so long with no HP, no real weapons to use, no utility, no way to heal back up, and he comes down at the last second to drop in for the win.
Oh my word, Shikuni, what a way to finish things. That was a magical way to finish things. 2 victory royales for him already, but 2 very different ways of closing things out. The patience at the end, he had that ultimate high ground, but I mean, to sweep it at that moment when he knew that player was vulnerable for just a second, hits his shot. I mean,
Martin,
hats off.
I want to go straight
I'm
to this.
clapping.
We should. Shikuni, you're in his shoes. You're there on the ultimate high ground with his layout or his loadout. You're there with his HP. Was that the right call to make? I mean, the thing is, obviously it was because he won this one, but would you have done anything differently or done the exact same thing?
I'd probably try to do the exact same thing. He only had 13 health, so I would probably, I mean, I'm kind of known for taking a lot of fall damage. So I would probably not perform as well as he did, but
At least you're honest about it.
He certainly played that perfectly. I would say perfectly.
The thing is that what gets me about that is that he was never really in a position since the start to ever get any eliminations. Like we saw him constantly. He was just there. You know, once in a while he wasn't really shooting off too many shots. He wasn't calling too much attention towards him. But then again, with the way that worked out, all you had to do is just take that high ground once. The Storms were very nice to him, too, because they moved back across his own building, so he didn't have to waste a lot of materials, which allowed him to do that so late on, to keep building and look for those shots. Just insane to see so many different styles you can play and still come out with that victory.
Yeah, it just gave him, thanks to the zone moving back over the existing buildings, I don't think he had too much mats on his hands, so it was really important that he went the other way, giving him a lot more time to stay alive and ultimately just bringing it home. Beautiful.
I mean, we have some of the replays coming in here from that game that we just had, and I wanted to highlight King as well, because that man was down to the highest of sort of start to mid-game. I think he had 6 limbs by the 3rd circle. He was taking every battle that was coming his way.
I just feel bad he didn't get further. I mean, I love to see that kind of thing, right? To see someone 3 zones in, get 6 eliminations, who's in the Storm Wing, he jumps out, gets elimination, you know, flies away again. Like that. We haven't seen anyone do that just yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about confidence, right? You just saw him jumping from, like I say, from player to player and just cleaning it up really fast as well. So Yeah, he's really in the zone now. Although like he didn't bring the game home, but he did take a lot of points home just from all those eliminations.
And you can see this final moments of this game, and here he comes. He didn't. Oh, actually, this is slightly before that, but I thought we were going to see that final shot for the victory royale. But it is 70 more points on the board here for Shikuni. I mean, who's going to stop him right now? Because you could tell that his method of putting points on the board there, he was playing for endgame. He was just, you looked at his loadout, you know, he wasn't going for taking any battles, he wasn't picking up any loot along the way, because obviously he wasn't putting himself into any positions to do so. And he probably thought as that game was going on, like, I'm letting this go for as long as I can. The further I get as far as placement is concerned, I'm happy with points. Then it gets to that 1v1 situation. I love the fact he was like, this is my chance to win it. Here we go. And he pulls it off. It's insane. As we can see here, the standings, no surprise here to see who is at the top of the leaderboard. Shikuni, 229 points for him from just 3 rounds as well. I mean, that's an impressive amount to be putting up on the board.
It really is, and we see a lot of other names that we recognize here, like such as Teak, Evil. We have Evil up here on the scoreboard. Pretty high up.
Teak had to have gotten a lot of eliminations in that match too, because I don't believe he was in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. And he didn't place in terms of last standing, I don't think in top 10 either. So we saw him like towards like the late game, but I think more like towards the early to middle late game. So he had to have gotten a ton there.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like you gather up a decent placement, put some elims on top of it, and you do get a lot of points from that.
See, what's crazy to me is that people always say, oh, battle royales, they're random. No. Hello, Shikuni. That's 2 victory royales. He got a top 10 result in game 2 as well. Like, this man has shown that he can do it while aggressive, he can do it while passive with no items to use, and still come out the victor. That's honestly really cool to see.
If anyone was the underdog of this game, it was Shikuni, right?
Yeah. Shikuni pulls off the second victory royale of the day. Then, gentlemen, fantastic stuff as always. Round number 3 is done, and we now have our man who's definitely putting his mark down to win this whole thing. Shikuni with another victory royale. We're going to take a very quick break. When we're back, we've got round number 4.